Hi, my name is David Craig and I'm here to talk about my new novel, Lord of the Hunt, published by Elsewhen Press. Lord of the Hunt is book 2 in the Sooty series, a supernatural mystery / gothic urban fantasy set in Victorian Scotland, primarily in Glasgow. Behind me is Pollock House, in the south of Glasgow near where I live. This house and estate feature heavily in Lord of the Hunt, albeit in the book it's renamed Dunkellen House, home of Lady Macanesca. The house itself was built in 1752. This is a rear garden where an eventful garden party takes place at a certain point in the book. Lord of the Hunt picks up in the summer of 1893, a couple of months after the end of the previous book, Resurrection Men. As Glasgow enjoys long days and short nights, the undead ruling Glasgow are relying on the secret society of the city's elite, the Sooty Feathers, to provide them with fresh blood. But the Sooty Feathers are still reeling from the events of the previous book, and corrupt Bishop Redfort hunts for the demon Arakael, knowing the demon intends the society's downfall. The heroes of the last book, Hunt and Foley, are lying low in the Highlands, where Hunt will learn a diabolical truth regarding his family history. Back in Glasgow, Lady Delaney and her apprentice Kerry Knox are waging their own quiet war against the undead. Their paths will meet again when dark magic is unleashed. I'm now going to show you the rear garden where the garden party took place. And now for the reading. And here's a copy of Lord of the Hunt. The cover is by Alison Buck. Glasgow, June 1893. Chapter 1. Jack Davies followed the lady through the streets of Glasgow, abandoning his pursuit of an inebriated gentleman. Why risk a fight when easier prey presented itself? The unsteadiness to her gait suggested that she too had partaken of drink earlier in the evening. It would explain her foolishness in walking the post-midnight streets alone. A gas streetlight briefly illuminated her as she passed beneath it, revealing a full-length dark red skirt that flared out at the bottom and a matching bodice. A blue woolen shawl hung from her shoulders, the late June heat making it an unneeded accessory. The thirst tightened its hold on Davies, so he decreased the distance between them lest the woman reach her destination and wave down a cabriolet. Anticipation gripped him. The summer months were always a trial for his kind this far north, the height of the season almost a famine if the Sooty Feathers proved inefficient in supplying their masters with victims. And this was not a good time for the secret society of ruling Glasgow, fractured by death and treachery. Midsummer. With the evening sun still lingering on the horizon until 11 o'clock and rising sharply at 4 in the morning, he dared not hunt for more than 4 hours, despite using a nearby shop cellar as his crypt. 20 hours a day trapped in the concrete foundations of Bothwell Street. For the past few months he has sustained himself on the diseased blood of the homeless living on the streets or the prostitutes forced to work them. But here was a woman of means walking alone, unchaperoned. A young woman, Davies noted as he closed the distance, with chestnut-coloured hair worn high beneath a small-brimmed hat. He fantasised about where she had been, about the fine foods and wines she may have consumed, a rich diet he would taste in her blood. A veritable treat after a mean summer feeding from malnourished tours and vagrants, most soaked in bootleg gin. Low in Regent Gwillim's favour, Davies was used to summers lean in blood, and this summer had been lean indeed. But not tonight. The young woman ignored a passing cabriolet, perhaps too miserly to pay the fare for a ride home. Foolish lassie. She approached the lane, and Davies quickened his pace, his leather sole scraping off the dry cobbles, sun-baked dung filling the gaps. Now, he lunged, grabbing her collar with his left hand and pulling her sharply into the lane, throwing her roughly against a sandstone wall before she could cry out. Jack Davies had been undead for almost 50 years and had seen every kind of fear reflected in the eyes of those he killed. There was fear in this young lassie's eyes, sure enough, but an expectant fear rather than that of surprise. He unveiled, opening his mouth to reveal incisor teeth lengthening to fangs, and saw her eyes widen. Something within whispered that there was recognition within those eyes, as well as fear, but the thirst was riding him too hard to stop now. He ducked his head down towards her throat, eyes fixed on the rapidly beating carotid pulse, already tasting the thickly flowing blood within. Something burned his mouth before his fangs could fasten on her throat, and he saw the glint of silver around her neck. Which, he pulled a handkerchief from his pocket, reaching up to snatch the offending metal from her throat when a flash and thunder roared through his gut. Davies backed off a step, uncomprehending at first as agony roared deep within him. He looked down to see a small gun in the girl's left hand, a derringer. Any belief Davies harboured the girl, being a random victim, disappeared as the bullet burned within him, suggesting it was silver. A lone woman of means might carry a derringer for protection, but silver ammunition told him belatedly that tonight he was the hunted, not the hunter. I'm not done yet. He lunged forwards, ready to tear the insolent bitch apart for causing him such pain, for daring to hunt a Nephilim. But she sidestepped and went fire across his face. Too late, he saw the silver knife in her right hand. There was still fear in her eyes, but it was tempered to serve rather than hinder. The blade flashed again, this time into his upper chest. Davies felt himself sink to the ground as his heart was cleaved in two. I was promised eternity. Promised. Kerry took a steadying breath and stared down at the undead lying before her, slain by the silver knife in her hand. She was all too aware that one misstep in the fight would have seen the vampire tear her throat open and drain her dry. One more bloodless corpse for the city of Ever ruled authorities to declare the result of an accident or dog mutilation. But not tonight, you bastards. Well done, Miss Knox, a voice said from the shadows. Kerry looked round to see her mentor step into the lane, wearing a long black dress. Thank you, Lady Delaney, Kerry said. Not the neatest kill, sloppy in places, but satisfactory nonetheless. Successful nonetheless. The sun and moon would rise and set together the day Lady Delaney passed a compliment and qualified by criticism. I'll do better with mine next undead, Kerry said dryly, exaggerating her Irish drawl. Lady Delaney gave her an amused look. That would be well advised. Next time ensure the bullet strikes the heart. Giving an undead time to respond will see you dead. They're stronger and more resilient. So you've told me. So remember. Lady Delaney gave her a tap on the head. But to kill a vampire is an impressive achievement, my dear, so take pride in it. Tempered with humility, of course. Aye.